Hey everybody, it's Tom Lyons here from MakingYouFindable.com, and I thought I'd go over a neat little tool that I found in GoogleLabs.com today, and I'm not sure how I didn't find it sooner. What you're looking at here is browser size at googlelabs.com. So to go to that, you can see right up here at the top, or hopefully you can, it is http://browsersize.googlelabs.com. And what this tool does is it will show the percentage of people who can see your site based on their screen resolution, basically, is how it's working. So what it's showing here at the top is they're going across, right, and it's going 50, 100, 150, 250. These numbers up here are that you're seeing that are just kind of grayed out are pixels going across, and then these are pixels going down. And for those of you that don't know what pixels are, if you look really, really, really carefully at your screen, you'll see that it's made up of dots. Right? Each one of those dots is called a pixel, and your screen resolution is based on how many pixels are displayed. And so, you know, some people have older computers and older graphic cards in their computers, and as a result, they don't have their screen resolution set aside. Some people have a tough time reading, so they set their screen resolution higher, so text shows up better. Other people have massive, huge screens. You know, they have 26-inch screens that they can display everything on, and everything still looks big and easily readable, and so they run at a really high resolution so that they can see more. And so as a result, everybody's website looks different on everybody else's computer. What this tool is telling us is how many of those people can see it based on different resolutions, so that you know what you should be designing your site for to reach those most people, and you can decide how many of those people you think you should continue to have to reach. So I'm going to show you. Well, I'm going to show Tara's site. Why not? So I'm going to show Tara's site here, and so we've gone to www.taralyons.ca, and as you can see, it's not the perfect tool because it shows her videos and stuff like that over top of what they're showing, but that's because everything's flash-based. And what we've got going here is I set it to her full width, so if I stretch this out, which you're going to see, so I'm going to move this around a bit here for you. See how I've stretched it out? And I can continue to stretch that out if I want to. But my point here is that as I stretch it out, you can see. I'm going to move this way over here so you can see what's going on. So okay, so in the background is Tara's site, which you can see moving along all fine and dandy. Right, and as we go, we see a number 99%. So at a 600 resolution width, 99% of the population can see it. At a 750 pixel width, right, 98% can see it. At a 800 pixel width, 95% can see it. At a 950 pixel width, right, 90% of the population can see it. So see how I'm losing the population? And I start losing it really quickly here because it's based on what screen resolutions Google has tracked as people use their service, right? And so now we're up to 1,000 pixels, only 80% can see it. So I want to catch as many people as I think I can, so I'm going to squish her site down to where it's the minimum. So this is as the smallest width that I can possibly get. And you can see there, this is as small as Tara's site's going to get. And even at its small size, I'm only connecting to 90% of the population. I'm losing 10% of the population who are seeing this site in a strange format. So I'm going to turn Google's tool off here so that I can see the site correctly. We're just going to go to Tara's Lyons site so you can get a better view of what Tara's site is. So when it's set at this width, which is about 900 pixels, 90% of the population can see it, but see what happens when I get smaller? See how the text is starting to get cut off? Right? So if I wanted 95% of the population, right, to be able to see it, there's a 5% or a 15% portion of the population who's seeing the site like this, or worse. right? But I'm collecting 90%. Now I'm pretty happy with 90% of the users out there being able to see it like that. I'm willing to lose the 10% that are running at higher resolutions, because some of them may be running it on really old computers or whatever the reason, and they might not have high speed anyway, so they can't see the video. Whatever the reason, I'm willing to take that loss. But you might want to keep that in mind when you're doing a site design, and make sure that you can fit at least a good portion. You don't want to be at 70%, right, because you've designed the site so wide, right? And that's a really important thing for you to keep in mind. So I wanted to show you that tool again. It's browsersize.googlelabs.com. I think you'll really like it. At least it's nice to see exactly what your site is. So right now, as you can see, 30% of visitors can't see the donate button. Instead, they must scroll. So that's a good point too. I didn't state that, but this bottom line is also very relevant, because that's what's called the fold on your website. So anything above that people see when they first come to your site. Anything below that they don't see. So if we look at the site again, I'm going to go down and show you where 90% of the people can see this page. So as I move up, I'm just going to bring it in tight here so you can see the whole thing. Okay, so as I move this up, right, 80% are seeing it. So I want it so that about 80% of the population, or right there, 90% of the population can see pretty much Tara's main things. Like, they can see the form, they can see her whole navigation here, they can see the majority of her listings, they can see the first featured video on her site. 90% of the people can see that, right? And that's what's important. 80% can see almost the entire form there. So most of the call to actions, most of the things that I want to make sure that they see, 90% of the population is easy to see that without doing any scrolling. So that's a really important thing too. If you've got big headers and things like that, and they're pushing your content down below, the things you want people to be engaged with, right, then you want to make sure that that's above the fold. So really cool tool, and I think you'll really enjoy it. At least go play with it, take a look at your site, and see what you think. Enjoy.